but the Central Organization of Trade Unions Kenya, Cotu, wishes to inform Kenyan workers and the general public that following a high-level consultative meeting between His Excellency the President, Dr. William Samoei Ruto, and the Secretary General of Cotu, Dr. Francis Atwoli, who was accompanied by his Assistant Secretary General and a Director at the Affordable Housing Board, Brother Ernest Nadome, who is here. Severally, we had a meeting that discussed very critical issues concerning the administration and use of affordable housing levy fund. And we conclusively agreed on the following terms. As a result of this constructive engagement, the following resolutions and commitments were reached. Immediate suspension of market construction using housing fund levy. Immediate suspension of market construction using housing funds. This can only be done within the project infrastructure, but not outside the project infrastructure. For example, if affordable estate has been built, there will be infrastructure including markets, schools, and so on. And also, the government has agreed to immediately put on a hold any further, and I repeat, construction of markets funded by the affordable housing levy. I repeat, refund of the funds that might have been used to construct those markets. All funds that have already been used to construct markets under the affordable housing program will be refunded to the affordable housing levy fund. Those markets everywhere that might have been built by money from the housing levy fund. A committee will be set where he sits and representatives from the national government and the county governments to oversee the recovery of the amount of money that might have been used in the county government, because those markets are commercial. So the money will be refunded back to the housing fund levy. Now, 3, strict use of funds for associated infrastructure within the housing, the way I've explained. Any infrastructure that is required will be within the precincts of the project itself, as it was when they were putting up those houses you see in Eastlands. Some of you are not born, but we were around at that time when Jerusalem was being built, when Jericho was being built, and all of Fafa Maringo and so on, and Eastlands where I was brought up. The infrastructure then had to put in social halls. They are still there, up to date. Schools like St. Michael in the other way around, St. John's in Kaloleni, and St. Paul's and Apollo Canon in Botella, and all those schools that were put around, including Heshima Road Girls School, Secondary School. Those were put up when those infrastructure were being put in place. So where the estate is being put in place, the affordable housing levy fund will be used, but not far out of that. But if the plot, say for example, was small, that it cannot afford schools inside, the next immediate primary school which is around, it will be expanded by the money for the purposes of service delivery to the children of those people who will be tenants in those particular houses. The other area is down payment deposit has been reduced from 10% to 5%, because people are to pay deposit to those housing. If you have been allocated a house, it was a must that you have to pay 10%. That has been reduced to 5% to enhance affordability and access to access to those houses for those who might have been earmarked for allocation of housing units. And that is a plus that we have done or we have achieved. Now, these houses also, as I said earlier on, these houses will be opened to salaried people. Anybody who is contributing like you guys, we have now said if you are contributing money to housing levy fund, you will be eligible to get allocation of a house if you want to have one unit from those houses. They are now open because people used to say when we are contributing and our pay slip shows that we are contributing to house levy fund, what are our benefits? Now it is open to those people who are contributing. They will be eligible to be allocated those houses on paying a deposit of about 5%, and they will be eligible. The other about 20%, this one now will go to those people you call social social plus people, those who cannot be able to afford anything and so on, and they have been earmarked in those places, like what was happening at Mkuruku and Jenga, those people who are in slums and so on, those will have an access to those houses like that, and that will be up to around 20%. But the rest, it will be for those who are contributing. What the committee that is going to be set is going to look into is for how long one has been contributing in order to qualify to get one house. It might be 1 year, it might be 2 years, but they will sit down. That's what the president have said, and they agree on who is qualified for that particular units of from the housing levy fund, houses that have been built by housing levy fund. So now every worker who is contributing and he has a pay slip, he will be eligible to those houses, because those houses will continue being built in urban areas everywhere, and they should also they should not be discriminatory. So people used to ask, we are contributing, what are our benefits, Mr. Tuoli? Now they qualify also to get a unity out of that. So that is what we have achieved. And my brother, if you sit on that board, if there is something I've left out, he helped me very much. I don't sit on that housing levy board. He sits on that housing levy board. And on the regulations, the people who we looked at it, it is a replica of the act on this housing levy fund, particularly on infrastructure. And I want to thank His Excellency the President to have accepted to put a hold on markets and what have you, because those who are going to cost a lot of money. For example, houses being built, we have units being put up in Nairobi, and then you go to Ngong or somewhere else, you find markets are being built there using the same levy fund. The President has agreed that that one must be put on hold, and those markets that might have been built using the same fund, the money will be recovered, and they will be able to constitute a committee to look into that.